Hey, this is Dani. Thank you for joining us. This time we're headed to Orcas Island, also known as a place of after several years of car life and 2.5 years of van life, I got my first knock. Last time we left you, we were leaving San Juan Island for Orcas Island after waiting for quite a few hours for the ferry to be fixed. So they are not wasting their time. They're getting us straight to Orcas Island. So it's really only like a 40-minute crossing. I walked around the ferry. It was small. I didn't record because there are a lot of people in there, and it's small, and it's sort of a local ferry. I think a lot of students and stuff like that were on it. So yeah, I didn't record. And it's dreary and raining, so I didn't go outside. Just a big don't tonight, but I do think I'm going to make it to the campground because the ferry will be getting to Orcas faster than I thought, so we can drive to the campground and get there before dark. So yay. Hi.
You okay?
Yeah, is it a pay right here?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hey, so if I camp up at Mountain Camp, is this where you pay to, or can you go up there and pay?
You can do it anywhere.
Okay, I was just curious, like getting all the way up there and coming back. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You can anywhere you see one of those, you can.
There
pay.
are. Okay.
There's plenty.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. Thank you so
you're
much.
Fine.
Have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks. So yeah, we got here last night. Checked in right before dark. Was settling in, and then this ranger guy comes up and knocks on the door. He's like, "You didn't pay." I'm like, "Yeah, I did. The other ranger was there when I did it." So he like puts his hand up and walks away. And I guess he calls the other ranger. Or he asked me to describe him too. I'm like, "I don't know, younger, nicer than you." He calls him right away. And the guy's like, "No, I didn't take money from her. I just saw her and we talked about it." And I never said he took money from me. I said he was there when I paid. I put it in the box. And this guy was all, "Well, I didn't see any of the boxes. Which one?" And I told him several times. And he said, "Well, I didn't see anything." Well, and I was like, "Well, I don't know what to tell you. I put it there." I showed him my receipt. He's like, "Well, this is just the front." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's my receipt. Why would I keep the part that I'm supposed to put in the box with the money?" And he said, "Well, maybe it didn't go all the way, and I'll have to dig it out." And it's like, "I'm sorry, the system is flawed. That's not something I did to you, sir." I didn't say that, but it was like, "And why didn't you check?" Well, instead of coming here and accusing. And so he goes, I'm just going to go back and check right now. And I will turn right around and be back here if I don't find anything. I was just like, okay. Like at this point, I was ready to just give him $20 more, but it's also the point. And he was so rude about it. So I kind of waited for a little bit to see if he came back. He never did come back. Oh, and he also asked me if I was staying longer. I'm like, "Yeah, I was going to be for like 2 more nights, not here, but around the park." And he's like, "Well, come to me when you want that." And he gave me the hours of the booth. And it's like, okay, it's like all of these things are out of my control. When I arrive, the booth's closed, and it says, and I follow the instructions to pay for my campsite, which isn't clear because the booth is far away from the actual campground. So that's wonky, especially the place I want to camp tonight up at Mountain Lake. Anyway, he's closing the mountain tomorrow, so he'll be around and he can show me a good site. And he kind of tried to be friendly, I suppose, after, but he was so gruff and rude. And I'm sure people do sometimes just park and not pay. I don't know. The whole thing was like, dude, that's not nice. It's not the way to act. Give a person a benefit of the doubt. Why am I trying to pull one over on you with your $20? Like, and even if I was, go and check instead of being such a jerk about it. You know, don't be a jerk first. Why treat everyone like a criminal? I don't know. Maybe there's lots of people that come and try to get free camping on this island and pull one over on him, and maybe he has a bone to pick. But that was kind of a sour start. But I was so tired yesterday that I pretty much went right to sleep and slept pretty well last night. And so did Hannigan. And now it's time to muster up the will to do something. It's really cold and rainy, and it's kind of one of those days when one would rather probably just stay inside. But I think I want to at least walk around the lake today. There's 2 lakes here in this camp, or this park that I know of. 2 lakes for sure that you can walk around. Oh, I guess there's a third, because this lake has the third. I don't know if that's a bubble of this lake or an extra second lake that's connected to this lake. I'm not sure how that works. I think it's all one lake. I'll have to look at a map. I should have taken one when the young man offered it to me. Anyway, I won't let him ruin my day. So I was really wrong, and I can't believe it, because I've been to all of these. There's Cascade Lake, Mountain Lake, Twin Lakes, and Summit Lake. I've been staring at the lake and really not doing much today so far this morning. It's probably because it's a proper dark day. Like, I don't think there's going to be any hint of sunlight. I'm so tired. It's a little drizzly. It's dreary, but I'm going to pick myself up, clean this van up, and then walk myself over to the booth as I walk around the lake. I'm not sure which way I'll go, depending on time. Don't want to check out too late and make that ranger mad, but I still want to be able to coincide where I can physically pay him so he sees me pay. Hopefully, anyway. And make sure that he got my payment. So I got to the ranger station, and the ranger was there that I had met last night. He was very apologetic. First, he blamed it on the other person because they were new, which the other person did nothing wrong. And then he also blamed it on the money being stuck up, that I hadn't pushed it all the way down. I mean, those things they're a flawed design. I'm sorry, I always have a hard time pushing them all the way down. That's just how it works. I think if that's your job, it's just one of those things you check. But he was apologetic. I let it go. I mean, I wanted to let him have it, but it's fine. I had a nice walk. Paid for another night here. Now Hannigan's up. We're going to enjoy what's left of this bright December day. And I don't know if I've mentioned it, but this is the first state park, the first camping experience that Mrs. Hannigan has had back when we first started out this adventure together. We camped here twice in my old Honda CRV. Remember that, Hannigan? Out now. Well, good morning. As predicted, it is a windy, stormy day. In fact, I think we got hit by a branch a minute ago. I've been getting ready to get going. We're going to go to a state park that has camping, but it's just walking camping, like tent camping, which I don't have a tent with me right now. And I haven't camped with her in a tent, and I wouldn't want to start today. Maybe some other time, because I do miss backpacking. And it would be kind of interesting to see her up in the hills somewhere. But then that's a lot of weight too, so. But people do it. People take their children. People carry a lot of things up hills. I don't know what just hit us, but it wasn't a big deal, but I don't want a big deal. I thought we were parked in a pretty safe area, but I guess you never know, especially with these thin trees. The last week of fall is going out like Paul. Before I'd left San Juan Island, I'd stopped at Bakery San Juan and gotten this key lime pie. Wow. Let's try this pie. It's sweet. It's not super tart. I suppose it's tart enough. A little too sweet for me, but it's good. And it'll be good with coffee. Not complaining. I mean, I appreciate the beauty of this. I'm happy to have it. On the way to Obstruction Pass State Park, I ran into a little bit of trouble, or maybe a lot. The road's pretty narrow, and if you veer off just a little bit, you can get sucked in. In fact, this is a pretty common thing. Instead of continuing on into the park, the person who pulled me out recommended that I come back another day because the winds were only going to continue and more trees were bound to fall. And so I altered my plans, drove into town, got a few supplies, and then returned to the same campsite yet again. The rangers had said they'd prefer that I stayed down closer to the lower elevations because the weather was changing, and with the windstorm, they didn't think it would be a very good night up on the mountain. Good morning. It is, let's see how many nights of it. That was my third night. So my third morning waking up in this spot, and it's lovely, but it's on the side of the road, and there's not really anywhere to go right where you are except this little bit around the lake. There are trails, granted. I'm not stuck, but it's been cold. I'm not gonna lie. The sun did peek out for a little bit. I didn't even have time to grab my camera. I kind of just looked at it and watched it and thought about what the sun used to feel like. I'm being dramatic. But I really haven't gotten much done on this island, unfortunately. I don't know. I'm not going to get up to the top of the mountain today, I know, because it's already about 10 o'clock. And that's on me. Could have forced myself to get up early. I actually ended up sleeping in, and it was really nice. I needed it, apparently. There was a full moon last night. That was lovely. It it was a bit clear last night for a while, actually. And it sort of just illuminated the sky all night. It didn't seem close, so it was more just the light that it provided was nice. But there wasn't a big moon to see, like sometimes, at least not from my vantage. When it rose, it was pretty high in the sky, but I am on an island in the middle of mountains, so I'm not surprised. Yeah, I feel like I failed Orcas. Hopefully tonight we'll stay up at Mountain Lake and I'll at least walk around the lake. And maybe tomorrow I'll get up to the little summit, because that doesn't take too long. It has been a really beautiful morning. The sun has been filtering through now. It's actually broken through. Well, I will camp up at the Mountain Lake tonight if they think it's safe. I'm sorry that this Orcas trip hasn't been what it could be and what I wanted it to be. I think a fairer time of year, even last week, would have been better. The weather was so good when I was on San Juan Island. And hey, I wouldn't give that up for anything. And this is fine too. It's just not, it's not the video I planned. But you know, most of them probably aren't. And who plans driving into a ditch? I didn't drive into a ditch even. I slid. I was sucked in. It was surreal. It's amazing how the ground can just take you, especially if you have a big beast. Probably wouldn't have been like that in the CRV. Then I looked at the weather app and changed my mind and decided to go to a campground with hookups so I could have heat, because it was going to get even colder that night. This little island in Fishing Bay in East Sound is known as Indian Island. You can get to it during low tide. It's only an acre long, but it's pretty cool. Once I was settled at the campground for the night, I went to Orcas Island Pottery to hopefully get a new mug and bowl. It's a really neat place, and I recommend you go if you ever are in the area and like pottery or just neat little shops. One of the things I did before I set out for the San Juan Islands was make sure that there was a place to camp on every island. But I did not get into the minute details of each campground because I didn't realize that there was anything to worry about other than when I saw open year round for camping. Great. But then I learned on San Juan Island that there may be height restrictions because there are a lot of overhead cables in the campgrounds, like 9 feet high or maybe 10 feet high. So there's height limits. And unfortunately my van is just a little over 10 feet high with the air conditioner, which I hate the air conditioner. So it's kind of ironic that that air conditioner ruins things out. So that means I cannot go to Shaw County Park on Shaw Island, which is the only thing to do on Shaw Island. Shaw Island is basically residential, and there's a grocery store, ferry landing, and a park. I believe that's how it's described. It's like, that's it. So I can't go to Shaw Island. Well, I mean, I could, but I really wouldn't have anywhere to be. So it's kind of pointless. And in regards to Lopez Island, the last island, there will be camping at a resort for sure, RV camping. Spencer's Spit State Park, which I was looking forward to, has camping, and it sounds like great campsites, but they're not open. They're only open for camping with the walk-in campsites. which, as I've mentioned, I don't have a tent and I don't want to camp outside when it's raining and in the 30s. I just don't, or 40s. I don't. And I don't think, and also I just don't. So there is a county park there, which doesn't have any height restriction limits that I saw. So I can still go to Lopez Island, which is great. The parks have kicked my ass here because I guess when the weather starts, when the winter starts, they shut things down and streets get muddy. Not everything's for fall and winter is what I've been told several times. So did not succeed in Orcas Island. Also, I mean, it's harder to get views of Orcas Island or from Orcas Island unless you, I think, have a residence. Like where I'm staying now is on some water and we're looking over at an island, or we might just be looking at more of Orcas Island because it's shaped. It has a very interesting shape. It's like a big U, a big block U that's bubbly. So actually I might be looking at, this is where I'm looking at right now. But yeah, it's just not the same as San Juan Island. San Juan Island was a dream and I loved it. But I still have Lopez to look forward to. I still have today to look forward to. It's raining, cold, bleh. So, you know, not another day to ride on the muddy roads because I don't want to get stuck again. Well, all of this is to say it is good to plan. It is good to know every detail. Do I regret this? No. If you knew her, if you'd known her whole life, she started her life out on her own in the wild. She was found in the mouth of a dog and she was like maybe 4 days old, I think they guessed. Nobody, I mean, what happened before that? Not known. But she was found, I believe it was on Lummi Island, or Lummi Island, depending on how you say it, which is another one of the islands in the San Juan Islands. I don't know if it's considered a San Juan Island, but it's right adjacent to the mainland and the San Juan Islands. I think that's where she was found. So yeah, 4 days old, she's been on her own from the start, and then she's in a dog's mouth, and then people take her and give her surgeries, and then they adopted her out at approximately 4 weeks old, and that's when I adopted her, or found her, took her with me home. She's always been an independent cat. I remember when I first got her, she didn't really want to interact with anyone. She just kind of wanted to hang out by herself, and she found a safe place in the house and she would come out, and it took her a while. But then she became quite the adventurous little cat. She liked to go outside. So I got to the ferry parking where I think I might stay tonight. And it looks like there's either several people that have abandoned their cars / filled them up with things. This is the front lawn of the Orcas Inn in Orcas Village. Orcas Village is definitely worth checking out. It's really small. There are a few shops and sometimes restaurants. If you're lucky enough, you can stay at the inn, or if you're really lucky, maybe you'll get the coveted artist in residence position.
How would you like to be the director of our Christmas play? Glory to God in the highest, for unto you is...
I kept hearing this engine, and it sounded like it was sort of circling. It's just the ferry. It's so funny, or the ferries. But at first, the sound, it's so deceptive. It sounds so close. I don't know. It's just one of those neat things about being in an environment like this. The next morning, I woke up and got in line to begin the long wait to get on the ferry to Lopez Island.